Hey everyone, welcome to the YOUmedia podcast for June 27th. My name is Colin, and we are broadcasting live pre-recorded from YOUmedia North Dade. To my left is the man of the hour.
Yo, Connie, here, moderating.
Okay. All right.
Running audio.
Just the one and only, Lewis.
BDY Cash App. What's up?
There's a future mentor here, Tiari.
And you have Elvis Presley right here. Yes, I have Presley in my name.
He's come back from the dead.
That's a black man.
And he lives in Miami Gardens. He's holding it down in Miami Gardens, everybody. The king is alive. Fantastic. Cool. Well, we're going to do, we're going to talk about a couple things that, may be important to y'all. That's kind of local to us in Miami Dade County over around here. In the past we've talked about, fun stuff like video games and, talking about comics and comic book movies and all that type of things. But we're going to try to mix it up a little bit today and talk about things that are a little bit more, serious or maybe a little bit more like impactful on y'all's day-to-day life. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about, do you guys know that Miami-Dade has a curfew in effect?
Huh?
Well, I just learned about that today.
Huh?
Right now when I told you, or
yes.
literally this moment?
Yes.
Okay. So basically the curfew is that, anyone who's, not of legal age, so under 18. So some of y'all are over 18 right now. But maybe put yourself back in a mindset of maybe a year ago, when you guys were 17. So what do you feel about that? So basically what it says is that the curfew is from 11 o'clock at night to 6 o'clock in the morning, right? So 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. That a person under 18 years old can't be out driving around or walking around by themselves without a parent. What do you guys think about that?
That's kind of strange that they set it to 11 p.m. to 6. Like, I would have thought they would put like on when the sunlight goes down, like 8:30 something like that.
So you think it should be earlier than 11?
Yeah,
that's kind
Street
of
time.
that's kind of late. Like considering the fact like if they're under 18, that's kind of late even for them. Cause like around that time, like that's when like people really start to get wild and crazy. Like 11 o'clock, freaks really do come out at night.
If I'm not wrong, then the last time they tried to do that, Main Street had like a whole incident because of that, and they had to change the curfew. So it might repeat the same thing it is right now.
What was the incident?
The incident was what? There was like minors around, and people started shooting up around like the theater.
Yeah, there was like some like incident like some kids like when like 13, 14, something like that range, like a dozen of them. Like it was like some type of altercation between them, and
someone brought a gun.
A loaded gun with them
And
for some
because
reason.
they had to change the curfew. So think about the neighborhood, a whole Miami-Dade neighborhood. Listen to that. It's gonna take a long time for that to happen.
Yeah, it really would. Especially here in Miami Gardens where kids don't really listen or don't pay attention.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
But like, I see why they'll like put this out because there has been like many incidents where like young teenagers have been dying and whatnot. So like it will make sense why. They'll put out this curfew.
Okay. So you think that they're not out and about, at those nighttime hours, that's going to prevent people from getting injured or getting into altercations or things like that? How will that work, do you think?
Well, like most of the incidents, it happened during night.
Okay.
So like, at least they'll like, I won't say it'll prevent all of it, but it'll like prevent most of it.
Okay.
Yeah, like seeing the fact like most of the kids, like most teens, like around like nowadays, one's like 16 to 18, they mostly like to stay out all day or all night.
Mm-hmm.
So like having that curfew, I'll say it might be better than having it earlier than later because some kids wouldn't care about that, and some parents might come home around that time area, so they'll be back and like make sure the kids are staying inside instead of late around like 11 o'clock when most of them probably asleep by that time.
Mm-hmm. So is anyone here under 18 right now?
Why are you looking at me?
Are you the only one who's so you're the only person who this is going to actually directly affect? Are you ever out, past 11 o'clock or before 6 o'clock in the morning?
Of course, yeah.
Of course. What are you doing out? Just let us know.
Most of the time, I'll be at the studio.
Okay.
If I am out.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly either I go out or at the studio.
Okay.
So I'm grinding. So yeah.
So is this going to affect you, or were you aware of this?
I did hear it. I think I heard it from y'all.
Oh, really?
Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how is this going to change up the way that you go about your life?
I don't think it's gonna change, but
Okay, well let me drop this on you. So there is basically you'll get a punishment, if you're caught, between those hours. And the punishment is that you'll have to pay $500. So now that I've told you that, is this going to affect the way that you are living your life?
I'm not gonna lie to you, no.
No? So you're going to risk
'Cause
$500?
I don't think that. I see what they're trying to do, but I just think it's just too much people that's not gonna follow that. So
See?
it's not gonna be like. Yeah, it's not too much people. Like, it's not even that many police that's gonna be able to watch them like that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
I
I
understand.
don't think it's that much surveillance that they're gonna be watching over their shoulders like that.
You're
You get
cutting.
what
I
I'm
think,
saying?
I think you have a thought over here.
But like, what makes you think that? Because it's such. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, that now we have a curfew for
Oh.
teens.
I could bring it back to something else though.
What
Just
can you
like
bring it back to?
long time ago, I learned this in history class
Okay.
that it was about liquor, how they can't stop.
You're talking about
Yeah,
prohibition.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Like, that didn't work.
Okay.
That
But
did not work.
but that's a
It was just too
that's a-
much people that was doing it that they couldn't really.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
The actors
I'm
and
comparing that to
Okay.
this.
It's kind of a different situation because
It is.
with adults, it's harder to tell adults what to do, right? Because let's think about ratios, right? So people older than 18, it goes up to what age?
Yeah.
100 years old, right?
Yeah.
So that's a big ratio versus people between 18 and when do you all start running around after 11 o'clock? What, 15 years old, 14 years old, like earlier than that?
You thought we was around like 11 o'clock?
I don't
Y'all
know.
was inside.
I don't know. I
Y'all was
remember when I was 15
Where
years
are
old,
they?
I was out like running around crazy,
When the
late
street
night
lights turn on,
sometimes.
that's when it's
Come
time
on,
to
when
go
them lights-
inside.
You was just
Your parents have you on lock, huh?
They was unlocking around that time. He was inside.
So you see the point that I'm getting at, right? There's a small number of people within that age range that they're going to have to be like looking out for, right? Does that make sense, right? Versus like people who are within drinking age, it's a lot bigger of a number.
I do understand, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I just don't think that
Yeah.
it's going to be a serious law, or if that's a law. I just don't think it's going to be serious.
And this right here is a prime example of most children in Miami Dade because they see it. They're gonna see the billboards. Gonna like tell their mamas, like tell their mothers and fathers that there's a new law coming out, but they're not gonna listen to it. It's gonna be like the domino effect. They're not gonna listen to it. They're not gonna realize they're like, oh, I don't know how to guide you. Like think about all you have. Like you think about it with a fine of $500, but think about like all the children with women who like with the parents have nurses and late night jobs and not even supervising them. So what are they gonna do in the house? They're gonna leave. So everything around like 11 to 6, Miami Dade is not gonna listen to it. That's my
The
opinion.
kids. We all know.
Let me take this in a different direction. So what you were saying is interesting. Is that like you think that this isn't it isn't enforceable, and maybe you think that the law is not like a good law or something that's So do you think that there's certain laws that are ones that you don't have to follow?
Well, this is what I can say. I think some laws make things worse. Worse.
Make things worse?
Worse, yeah. I
Can
would say
you give me another example other than this one that would be a law that would make things worse?
The right of arms.
What was that?
The right
I
of
mean,
arms.
you can kind
The
of
right
say
to hold
that.
it.
Oh, okay. But let's talk about something a little bit more like directly related to you, or maybe something less controversial or less of a large issue.
Ooh.
I don't know. I'm not gonna.
I can't really think of anything else except for that. Or stand your ground.
It's gonna be controversial if anything I say. So,
Oh,
Man,
not
I can't,
necessarily.
like,
I don't mind if you bring up something controversial, but the gun thing is so played out at this point, right? Like we just hear it from everybody all the time. So I'm just trying to challenge you guys to be a little bit more creative with your
yeah.
example.
Oh, I can give you one.
Yeah.
No eating while you're driving.
Is that a law?
That's a law.
That's
That's a
I
law.
don't know if that's
Wait a minute. I've been breaking the law for years.
no
okay,
texting and driving.
No texting and driving. So you think that having that as a law is making our society worse?
Because more people gonna do it. If you tell somebody not to do it, they're gonna do it.
More than if you just...
Yeah. It might sound crazy, but if you really think about it, yes.
Actually,
Yes.
Actually, it's making it better because due to the law, people are making the loopholes around it. Like, for example, like if you win an Uber or a Lyft, and they have the things in front so that they can text while driving, but they're not really in their hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that one.
I mean, the cool thing is that you can talk and text. So you can say, hey Siri, text this person, or you can call somebody through Bluetooth.
But sometimes Siri doesn't really work all the time.
Or you can just wait till you get to your destination to text that person.
Yeah.
Red light.
And not only that, like the new cars that they're making where you can like connect your phone to it.
Yeah.
While you're driving,
Like Tesla.
the car actually tells you that you can't do this until you're at a complete stop or until you park.
Yeah.
So I would say that's not really a good example, but I can see like why you say that. Like, more now, like people are way more focused on safety, on the roads, especially in this time of age where everything is mostly like, I'm not to be like that guy, but mostly on like basically like converted or like what's the word I'm looking for?
Differentiated?
Yeah, like that like there's like certain laws, like certain things that a certain person would do that they wouldn't do because of skin color.
So I want to get back to over here because you're saying I'm gonna.
You love me, don't
well, because you're the one who's it's gonna affect, but you're also not interested in like abiding by sort of because you said okay I'm doing these other things, so the possibility of a $500 fine is not going to stop you from doing it. So let's think hypothetically, right? So let's say you're an adult, right, and you're trying to come up with something that's going to keep kids from being out, from 11 to 6, and as our other participants have said, they think that the reason why that they're instituting this is because of some sort of safety issue, right? They're trying to keep kids off the street. They're trying to keep kids out of situations where they may be in a location that may not be the safest location at that time of day. So if $500 isn't going to prevent you from doing that, what type of punishment would prevent you from being out from 11 to 6 o'clock? What would they have to do? Like a month in juvenile detention? Would that do it for you? I'm curious.
They gotta do what they gotta do.
But I'm talking about for you. So if you heard like, okay, this is the thing that I'd be up against, if somebody were to catch me at that point.
It's only because what I do, I'm only doing it for my future.
I understand.
So anything I'm doing is going to be for my future. You feel me? So like
I understand, but it's a weighing, right? So you're weighing, okay, there's a punishment over here versus this possibility.
I feel
over
like
here.
if sometimes you got to do the wrong thing. You got to do the wrong thing for good causes, and that's what I believe.
So no possible punishment would stop you from doing what you. Okay, interesting.
I mean,
That'd be super interesting.
$500.
I don't know. I think after 2 tickets for $500,
Okay, I'll be good.
I'd be getting out of the studio at 10:30 at night. I'd probably be like, I gotta make it home.
I gotta get home.
And I understand why, because people, I'm only one person. I'm
Yeah.
different. You feel me? So I understand why people are people.
Yeah,
So,
it's just curious to me. I mean, and it's interesting you said the studio thing because I mean, I think we've probably all heard in the past where people have come to studios with guns in the past too. And these things happen, and it doesn't necessarily have to be at 11 o'clock at night. It could happen at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's just curious to me because they're doing these things in order to help us, right? It isn't like a punishment, right? They're not trying to punish kids for being like young or something like that. They're trying to look at the situation like Elvis said and like Tiari said where, kids have been out and there have been, issues, right? Yeah.
Because look, I'm going to say it like this. Say like there's no backlash for the kids staying out past 11. Say like they just say, yo, there's a law now saying kids they gotta go inside the house by 11 to 6. But like, say like there's no punishment to it. Kids are going to still do it.
Yeah, if there's no punishment, of course, right?
Like that's why like everything, for every law, there's a punishment to it. Because you have to, I'm not saying they're forcing you to do it, but like they're doing it for your own safety.
Yeah. It's not really to harm you. It's like make sure like you're safe. Like more issues won't happen in the future. It's like that incidents that happened before. They're just trying to make sure like kids have a chance to actually like have fun and all that, but like at a certain time.
All right. I'll stop picking on him for a second. So I'm gonna ask you guys the same question. So
You can keep talking.
no. Because I want to just
Okay.
put it as a hypothetical to them, right? So let's say, for example, let's take ourselves back a year, right? We're all 17 years old, right? Would $500 be enough to keep you off the streets
Yes,
after 11 o'clock?
yes.
So for the two of you, yes. For you,
I'm already in the house. They didn't see me.
you already know.
Like, like you gotta understand, like around like 17 or 18, like I was pretty much still the same. Like I was on the way to being the person I am right now. So like I was always told always respect your officer, respect officers, blah 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 and all that. So like if that was happening around like when I was 17, of course I've been inside on like 10:30 or 9:30, something like that. For like I won't have because I'm not working at all at 17. I don't have a job or anything for financial things. So that fine is gonna go to my mother, and that's gonna cause her to spend money on that, and that will leave me being in trouble and me being the worst punishment than that $500.
That would have been the stress for me too.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about it. If I was 17 years old, right, and it went to my dad, and my dad is coming toward me, and he's like, I would not have been out of the house at like 5 o'clock. I'd be coming straight home from school.
It's 3:30. Hey, I gotta go home, bro.
Yeah, I would not have been out of that house
You
at
know,
all.
I got some mail in your name, but what's this $500 you talking about? What happened?
What you mean,
And that goes for either a parent or your guardians. No, I don't think if my child were to come up to me with a $500 fine, I'm gonna look at him different. Why?
First of all, why say them while you're paying for that?
Yeah.
$500. Okay, find my iPhone. Where are you? Where were you? I gotta know. Where were you at this hour? Huh? I'm listening. Are you making money? No. Then you finna take this.
So, I would rather say just be safe. Don't listen to the law and be respectful and all that. Well, yeah, just listen to the law and be respectful of the law.
Yeah.
Don't stay out past 11 because there's nothing to do after 11. There's no reason for you to be out that late at night. There's just you're 18 and younger. What are you out for? Go home, watch a movie, read comic books and manga, do something at the house.
Yeah. And I think those are their thinking. There's lots of safe things for people to be doing at their home at this point. But let's move on. So we're gonna have a couple different topics to talk about today. Another one that we wanted to talk about is directly related to Miami and maybe related to some people that you guys know. I don't know if you know, in the past week, they've talked about how they're going to be cracking down on illegal immigrants within our country, right? And they identified a few key cities, Miami, which is one of them, that they were going to actually go and extract a lot of these people who they had already, informed of that, they needed to get their affairs in order and had not, and now they're actually going to go in there and try to, deport these people or put them into some sort of holding situation. So let's talk about that a little bit, right? Because that's happening in our backyard, in our home right over here in Miami. So anyone want to start out with this? Tiari.
It's a huge topic for me because I'm from a family of immigrants.
Yeah.
So I'm third generation. I think. Yeah, I think I am. So hearing about that really kind of made me mad. Because you gotta understand immigrants they come from another country but possibly no money at all, trying to have a better life here. So you gotta understand they're trying their hardest to follow the law and make sure they don't get in trouble or deported back to where they was. Mm-hmm. So it takes a long time. It takes simply like my uncle who just got his green card 5 months ago. It took him 4 to 5 years just to get it. So it's not easy saying just get a green card or something like that. It takes years just to get it. You gotta go through countless of I think trials and courts and all that just to get that card. So hearing them say doing race and stuff, that it's not that easy to get that stuff. Mm-hmm. I give them time at least, give them a couple months or something like that to get everything right. Because as an immigrant, it's a struggle to at least get a single job because they're looking at you in a different type of viewing and anything else. It's already hard. It's already harder. Just trying to live here in America by itself, and you're just adding more issues and more trouble to the family that's going through it.
Yeah, because for me, my stepdad, so he's from Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos.
Yeah, he's from there. And, there was an incident that happened he never told me about, but, he lost his green card. Mm-hmm. And, because of that, like some like the people came and like tried to get him, but like we had to like really sit down and like talk to the people and like saying, yo, he just lost it. We're trying to help him to get it, and like even to like now, like we're still in the process of helping him get it, cause like we don't need a lawyer, but it's like we just need somebody who can like help us with this scenario. And like honestly, like I understand what they're doing because the people, they come from different countries, like they're getting their jobs and all that. And I see what Donald Trump says because he says like, yo, these people like shouldn't be having these jobs while like the actual people who was born here and all that should be getting them. I understand what he's doing, but like still, because if you deport them all back, you're hurting the families that like, you're hurting all that time and stuff that they wasted here trying to build themselves up, and you're putting them back in the situation that they were trying to get away from.
Let me ask you, so your uncle came over here from Turks and Caicos?
My stepdad.
Your stepdad, okay. How long ago?
40.
Yikes.
Okay.
Oh,
Wow.
40 years, he said?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
He is a very old man, yes.
All right. Anyone else? Any thoughts on it?
All I can say is that if it actually does happen to Miami, I know that most major parts of Miami are going to be done for. Like
it's-
North Miami,
North Miami. That's
Wynwood,
Little Haiti,
immigrants, right?
Key West.
Little Haiti,
Little
Havana. Like you gotta like, I'm just saying like, not to get off topic, but like they gotta understand like Florida itself is a crock pot of like different cultures and everything. You can't just take that away from the state that was birthed on that type of thing. Like there's like multiple races and all that here that helped build and made Florida what it is today. Like there's like it's not just one race that like was here. It's like it was like most like Cuban, Dominican, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, Haitian, Caribbeans. Like Florida's like New York, but like way bigger. Like there's there's a lot of different cultures you can run into just by simply going to like a different city.
Aventura, Vizcaya, they all
True.
If we don't have like the culture we have now because of the thing that Trump's doing, then Florida's only popular thing going to be Boca Raton and Tampa.
And Orlando.
It's not really nice.
Yeah, same thing. He hit it already, but I feel like that's gonna be the whole country. That's gonna be like the whole country if that's the case.
You know how ashy Florida's going to look?
Do you know how the population look in Florida if they did that? Let's imagine like seeing 5 people every day. There's the 5 same people in the whole state every day.
The crocodile's going to be bored and start walking.
Like sooner or later, you're gonna see crocodiles working at McDonald's because there's not enough people there to work.
Can you imagine?
So it seems like this is something that is like important to you guys. Do you guys know anybody who's like might be directly affected by these type of things?
There's a lot of people.
Us,
It's
everybody.
Well,
Yeah.
no, like
Directly.
directly.
Like with these specific ones that's being talked about right now.
Well,
you know?
directly, it's my friend at the college. Honestly, every time I talk about it, it's like his name leaves my mind. Armando. Yeah. there you go.
Oh, Mondo.
So, he came over here from school for school and all that, but there was a situation like he was talking to me about it, and he received the phone call. And, like he was extremely upset.
Yeah.
Because they said they're gonna kick him out of the country, and like I was like very concerned for him. I was like, I asked him why and all that. He said like he didn't want to talk about it, and then like he was asking like, asked me like a serious question. He was like, bro, do you think your sister would marry me? Because I know like for that type of situation, if you marry,
Wow.
That's another
like
thing
if
too.
you marry
yeah.
like into, you'll like be fine, and
You
you
can
know
get protection.
Yeah. Not only that, I witnessed that before. Cause there's a lady at my church. She married a good person, and like now like she's not getting kicked out the country. Then like from that day, I haven't even seen him since. So I don't know like if he's getting his stuff together or like if he actually left.
Okay.
But that's another thing too. Like that's what what about the kids that's like currently in school or in college? Like aren't they supposed to be safe from like deportation and stuff like that? Because they're from another country getting like education.
It depends, yeah, because I mean, there's this thing called a student visa, right? So that you get this visa that allows you to come over here and live in the country while you're getting that education. As long as you go through it in the right process, I guess that sort of protects you in some ways until you actually get that degree. Now, I don't know specifically, if you have to get that degree within a certain amount of time, and if you go over that time, instead of taking 4 years, you're trying to take 5 years to get that degree. What happens at that point? Because I think maybe not to make any judgment call or something like that. So maybe they may be thinking that some people are trying to take advantage, right, by like delaying their degree to stay in the country for a longer period of time. I don't know if that's the case, but yeah.
Oh, I'm just exercising my fingers.
Okay. Yeah. That's definitely something that down here in South Florida, where we have a lot of immigrants from all throughout the Caribbean and South America, and obviously from Mexico as well, Central America. It's one of those things where it definitely affects people who we know, right, directly, and could cause an issue there. Okay.
That's why I say it's going to affect everybody.
Yeah.
Because everybody have at least one,
They know, yeah. Exactly.
It's going to affect everybody, not just one person.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, they're trying to do things as quickly as they possibly can in the right way, right? But things don't move that quickly, right? As your stepfather has said, right?
That's why it takes time.
Yeah.
It really does.
Okay. All right. Well, along those same lines, do you guys know what's happening? That happened last night and is happening again tonight at the Arch Center downtown, right?
Yes.
Adrian Arch Center. You guys know what's happening? That happened last night and is happening tonight as well. You guys have any idea?
The cultural center.
Well, that's the Performing Arts Center that's downtown, right? It's near the AAA,
I know
right?
that.
But do you guys know what's been happening there? It's like all over the news.
I haven't watched.
No?
I don't really watch the news because
No one said anything?
I've seen it once on like Instagram because there was like a long line going to the art center,
There's
but I don't know what
a
it is.
huge line, yeah.
Why?
So you saw something about maybe something happening
but
downtown?
I don't know what
I
it
don't
is.
like. I don't watch the news that much, so I don't really know what's happening.
Does anyone have a guess? Because I said maybe it's kind of related to something.
Green
Like,
card?
What's that?
Don't tell
Green
me.
card or
No,
visa?
no green cards or
Don't
visa.
tell me they're putting the immigrants in the AAA center.
No,
No.
no, not in the
Oh,
not in the Arch Center either. They're not putting the immigrants there. There's some people who are the children of immigrants who are there on
We wouldn't put that on live TV.
but no, what we have there are the Democratic primary debates, right? So basically all the people who want to be president, right, for the Democratic Party have come to Miami, right, to have a conversation up on stage about the way that they feel that the country should go forward, right?
Okay,
Yes, I seen it on the
It's that
You
time of
guys,
year. It's
now
that
it's
time of year
sparking
again.
something
Yeah.
inside of our
Yeah,
brains.
it's that time of year again.
Yeah. So I suppose that time of the year, that time of the decade, I guess. Yeah, it's happening.
At that
It's
end.
everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
you hate to see it. You hate to see those.
So I'm not going to tell you everyone who's in there. Can some of you guys tell me some of the people who you think might be in town for this debate? Some of the names of the Democratic political candidates who may be trying to run for president. Anyone know any of the names of these people?
I'm sorry you got me there.
Excuse me.
There's 20 of them, so it should be pretty easy to come up with one. Come on.
Nope.
No, not.
Mr.
sorry.
Colin, not to be that guy,
Okay.
but like
Well,
we don't like not to be that guy, but like we don't really like
We
keep
can't
up with
put the
that.
process.
Yeah,
I want to put it out like that. So how old are you guys now?
19,
Okay, what's the voting age in this country?
18.
Do you see where this is becoming a problem?
Yeah,
They must have lied
yeah,
to
the
me.
youth not really paying attention to like, politics that could affect
You guys,
them.
you guys, not to like preach at you too much, right? I don't want to be like the person who's coming in here and telling you how you need to be living your life or whatever. But this is like important, right?
Yeah,
You guys, we just talked about an issue with people who we're related to or we're friends with who are being affected by things, and these are things coming down from above, right? They're coming down from our senators and our president, and they're affecting us and the people who are around us, the people who we love and want to be around, right? So do you think it's important that you know who these people's names are at least?
so I'm definitely about to look them up.
I just hope they're good people. That's
Okay,
all.
all right.
But like not only that, like when it comes to like voting and stuff, like just like for the last year when we was voting, like I was with my mom and all that, and like we all discussed on like who we gonna vote for and all that. If I'm not with them and I'm at school, there's like actually like this center that you go to, and like there's people discussing about the people that you can vote for and whatnot. So like, I'll normally like if I don't know anything, I'll like be there for like a few hours like learning about everybody.
Okay.
And they also track you down to tell you, oh, hey,
Hey,
we're voting here.
hey.
Yeah,
Go.
yeah.
Oh,
that's
before
like-
you
that's-
go, do you have a voter registration card?
Oh my god.
Oh, come here then. Come here. Hey.
Like it's not like I'm used to that since it's Florida. Like it's one of like the major like states to like have the most like vote registrations. Like
Yeah, Florida,
Yeah.
California, Washington.
like Florida's like the biggest one I think. Wait, is it?
And there's
Yeah.
Texas.
I think there's some bigger ones, but
Yeah.
Florida's important because it's a swing state, right? So
Yeah.
Florida, as you guys mentioned, like Florida's interesting, right? Because down south here, people vote really Democratic, right? Because
Yeah.
we have a lot of immigrants, right? We've got a lot of people who are thinking, one way, right? But
Then
then
up
once we
north-
get up into like that Bible Belt up there, closer to like Georgia and
Yeehaw!
Alabama and everything like that, those people are thinking a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking a little bit more Republican, right? So that's why the state can sort of flip flop either direction, but it takes. If
takes a
y'all
lot.
want it to go your way, you gotta
gotta do a
like
lot to
know
do it.
and
Speak
go out
up.
there, right?
Do something.
You got to get informed, right?
Convert.
So here, let me tell you about some of the people, and it might spark inside your brain once they start naming some of the people. So, who was Barack Obama's vice president? Does anyone know who the name of that guy
Joe
was?
Biden.
What's Joe Biden? So Joe Biden's in town, right? He's actually talking in the debate tonight. So you do know one of the people who's down here
Biden
talking
Sama.
about, right? Okay, cool.
Oh wait, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. At least I know those.
Bernie
two.
Sanders
I
down
know
here tonight too.
Bernie's here.
Bernie's
Bernie
here tonight.
Sanders.
He is here tonight.
Okay, then yes, I know one of them.
Okay. All right.
Bernie
So,
Sanders.
so there's another person, right, who you might know, right? So we all know who was the Democratic nominee who went against Trump last time, right? She was the wife of another president.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
Hillary Clinton.
So
We knew that wasn't
there's another woman who's kind of, was running at the same time as Hillary Clinton but didn't make the nominee. Does anyone know what her name might be? Starts with an E. She's from Vermont. Elizabeth
Elizabeth. Wait,
Elizabeth on
Elizabeth.
there? I don't.
Elizabeth.
Warren.
Oh, Elizabeth. Oh, okay. Elizabeth.
So Elizabeth
Warren.
Warren's another one. You guys heard of her? No? All right.
Ooh,
I'm sorry about that.
we taking this L really hard.
How about a young guy from Texas? You guys know a young guy from Texas who was going against Ted Cruz?
My brain is melting. I'm gonna go.
He's got kind of a Spanish first name.
Enrique.
Beto.
Poppy? I don't know.
No.
Beto?
I'm so
I'm
sorry.
so
my
like
gosh.
calling like this call not to be like we really don't know that much about like as much as we
Well,
want
this
to help.
should be maybe shaming you a little bit into like learning some of these people, right? I'm not trying to.
It really is
I'm
right
not trying
now.
to be that mean on you right now.
I understand, but like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like one of the things that most young people avoid is politics.
Because
But that's hurting you guys.
Yeah.
yeah,
right?
like it is hurting us, but like it's like a real like sensitive topic for us. We can really butt heads for like our older generation because of that.
Well, here, let me put it out like this. Do you guys? So some of you guys have jobs right now. Raise your hand if you have a job right now, right? So 3 of you guys have jobs, right? Would you like to make more money at the job that you're working right now?
Ooh, yes. Oh, yes. No,
Okay.
I'm grateful.
Do you think that the way that you vote has any relationship to the amount of money that you're making in those jobs?
We do have our own law.
Yeah.
Our own payment.
We have a thing
Yeah.
called the minimum wage,
Yeah,
right?
minimum wage.
We do have a big old money machine that can make billions of dollars.
That's fraud. That
See, it's
is
the thing, right?
fraud.
So all of these things, like you think that it's not related to you, and I understand. I was a young person before too, right?
I was,
And
I was
that,
one of y'all.
I was with you guys. It wasn't too long ago, right? And yeah, you don't think that all these things affect you, but eventually it's like, hey, I'd like to have a little bit more money in my pocket. I'd like to go out a little bit more at night, and so all those things are affecting you, right? So it's important to get into that and understand that. But let's get away from that a little bit. What things are important to you? So when you do start looking up these people, right, other than money, right, and other than like maybe immigration, what are the other things that you might be looking into when you start researching these people?
The education system, the justice system, health benefits. Like those are the top main 3 that I really look for. Like, I I care about a lot and look forward to. So like those 3 are like the most important thing. Like literally, other countries has free healthcare. Canada, Sweden. Like those 2 main examples. Like they have universal healthcare for like their citizens. Like as America, like we need to be on that type of level. If, like we won't have to like worry about like, oh, the hospital bill costs like this much, so I'm just not going to go there, or like I can't take my kid to the doctor because it might cost this amount of money. And like the education system, like the public school system, the amount of the teachers who get paid so little for teach like a future generation and all that. The justice system for like the amount of injustice that happens toward like people of color, like way to work better with that. Like those 3 are what really that I really focus on.
Okay. Anybody else?
You done wrapped it up.
That's it. No,
There's more. There's more
stuff
to
than
it.
that.
But like stuff that I look for is like similar to what he said, like education and all that. Because I remember Bernie Sanders. He said he wanted to make
Bernie
certain,
Sanders.
yeah, he wanted to make certain colleges free. And you know, like I agreed with that, but like then I thought about, I was like, that might not be a good idea because since these colleges where you have to pay for are now free, you might have to like raise taxes and whatever, like in that area and whatnot.
But wouldn't, so if you're going to be paying for that college anyway, right? Wouldn't you rather that it's gonna come out of your pocket one way or the other,
but it's
right?
like at the moment, like that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But like now, you know, like I go back to it. It's like, you rather do this or you rather do it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Now that's another thing. Like in the early '70s, late '80s, like college was so easy to get into. Like money wise, like it did not cost us that much. Like for what my grandfather told me, like when he went to like Barry University, then he went to like Yale for a good 2 years. Said it cost. Yeah, he went to Barry University, then Yale. He said like it did not cost that much altogether. Like for doing like 6 years, it cost him roughly like good $2,000-$3,000 to like go to the college. Like nowadays, it costs like roughly like $16,000-$17,000 just to go to one college. Like that makes no sense. Like you gotta like people like the education system. I want better for it and all that, but like there's just so much money you have to put into it just to get a good education. Like I want like at least to lower the prices for it. Like, at least like give like at least like $3,000 or $2,000 just to at least get into the college.
Okay. Yeah, one of the things that they were saying last night, and I definitely suggest that you guys, watch the debates, everything, because it'll really show you kind of who's falling on different sides, right? At one point, because you guys mentioned universal health care, they actually asked people to, raise their hand if they would give up their private health care, which a lot of people, all of us who work for the county or whatever, our health care is provided to us through the county, right? Through our employers and probably your parents as well, right? They have a job and the job pays for their health care, right? That's a private health care provider, right? And they asked, raise your hand up if you would give up that, right, through your employer to have a universal healthcare run thing, right? And you can see which ones, raised their hands and which one didn't raise their hands, right? So if you think that universal healthcare is important to you, that might indicate where the people you might want to be paying attention to, right? They also talked a little bit about which type of colleges might be free if they did that type of thing, right? So yeah, it would be like community colleges like MDC, right? Or maybe like those state colleges like maybe FSU or University of Florida, right? But of course not University of Miami, right? But you'd have the option, right? If you wanted to go to UM and pay them their $50,000 a year or whatever to go to UM, right? You could do that, right? That would be options that are available to us, of course, right? But yeah, it's really important that you guys take a look at those things. What other things might be important to us, as far as politics goes? You guys mentioned one thing before, a certain law that people think may be good or may not be good.
The right arms,
there you go, right? So would it be important to you to find out which candidates support, certain things? It would. There's another nominee. I think it's one of the only African-American nominees that's up there. Do you guys know what his name is? He's from New Jersey? No?
Definitely not.
Cory Booker? You guys never heard of Cory Booker?
Wait a minute.
What?
I did see something on Twitter that was that he was speaking Spanish, and
a couple of people were speaking Spanish.
Yeah, and like
Beto O'Rourke was speaking Spanish.
and it was like
also.
speaking Spanish. He looked confused. Like I saw, he looked confused. Like, excuse me. Like I saw that, and like this can't really be in a debate, right?
How do you guys know all this stuff? All these like memes on
Twitter and Instagram.
But you don't even know what's happening in your backyard. It's like 5 miles away.
Twitter and Instagram are really.
But you can't just look at the picture. You gotta maybe look down.
Like look deep into it. Look in depth into it.
Comments.
Right? I'm gonna give him a pass on this for a little bit. Y'all are adults now, right? Like, you gotta elevate your life at this point, right? Yeah. You can't just look at the memes, right?
Yeah, at this point, I really.
Meme. What do you mean?
At this point, we really just can't look at the memes anymore, right? Because we find humor in it, but really, in reality, there's a lot of deep meaning into it. Like the stuff like we trying to make, like the stuff we trying to make funny or something like that, can really have a deeper meaning into it.
You're going to be trying to be moving out of your house, right? And you're going to want to be, you know, having the money to be able to do that type of thing. You're going to want to be able to, you know, afford, you know, to
afford a
live
house
that
and all
life,
that,
you
yeah.
know. And if you get sick, you're going to want to be able to afford that too, right? So, what's up, man?
All I was gonna say is this: to live this life is very crazy. You have to think. You have to do things. You have to do so much for so little, basically.
You got to do a lot of things. You have to read a lot, and you got to think a lot, and you got to be pretty smart, right? In order to not get taken advantage of, right?
Yeah. I think it's crazy how it's set up to be for us, though. I really think that. Like, I'm just talking for everybody.
For everybody?
In general. Yeah. You have to do a lot of stuff to do like simple stuff.
minor things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's insane.
Yeah, life gets more complicated,
Ludicrous.
right? Yeah. It's not just, you know, going outside and planting the crop for the year and waiting for it to grow, right? You got to like do all sorts of other things now.
I wish it was that simple.
Yeah.
I might be a farmer. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
know,
I
right?
might go to Midwest and be a farmer.
That's simple life, right? It's not that simple life anymore,
It's
right?
not. Even being a farmer, like, is hard. Like,
Yeah,
from what I
well, yeah,
heard,
of course,
like they have to deal with a lot of taxes too, and like having to deal with like certain products they have not being able to be shipped out or checked by what's it called? FDA, like not being, if they're not being approved by them, they won't be able to like have the money to like provide or have like their livestock anymore.
That's right. All right. Cool. Well, I think that's it. If nobody else has anything to add to this, I definitely suggest that maybe tonight you guys, you know, tune into NBC and, you know, watch this thing and see what's happening,
Tune
right?
into Twitter and see this.
Or you can turn into Twitter and see people making jokes about people trying to speak Spanish up there on the stage, right? Because they're down here in Miami, and so everyone tries to speak Spanish.
Really do.
Cool. Well, we'll be back next Thursday for a new podcast from YOUmedia North.
Next Thursday, reminder, next Thursday.
Absolutely. For all y'all who are saying you don't know when we do podcasts.
Elvis, Lewis,
All right, guys. See you later. Bye.
peace.
Cool. I think that was fantastic, guys.